De Ridder, RDR, getting ready to tangle with Robert Whittaker, which I got to tell you popped off the page. The day I saw that fight, I remember going, wow, I like that match. What's on the line? What's it for? Now, Whittaker's in a position where getting back to the opportunity to fight for a title is going to be very hard. But it's very important that that option stay alive, because Whittaker is getting asked to do some very heavy lifting in this organization. Not to mention, it's a main event. So if you succeed in a main event and you're in a promotion, which means you only go forward, you know what it means to promote, correct? If a guy wins in a main event and his next fight is a co-main event, just for example, he's been demoted. So what do you do with the guy? What's the highest spot in the sport? Title? Okay, great. What's right underneath title? Main event. So if you win in a main event, what do they do with you? Now, I get that there's no guarantees, and I get that the path to a championship is a lot clearer for De Ridder. But is that what we're up against? I mean, is De Ridder in, even if only one-sided, is he in a semifinal round or a number one contendership match? Paulo Costa is flying to Chicago to sit ringside to do his best to insert himself in the action that is Chimaev versus Dricus. And whether it's my private talks with Paulo or what you guys have seen publicly, he doesn't really care if it's win or lose. Like Paulo is coming for Chimaev. And if Chimaev's a world champion and you've got to put in this feature bout, I get where it becomes more complicated. I'm just sharing with you, Paulo does not overly care. He doesn't care if he's fighting him and there's a belt. He doesn't care if Chimaev gets beaten, he's fighting him off a loss. He's there to fight Chimaev, which, by the way, makes it extremely compelling. And I don't think that Chimaev is even arguing, I should be the guy. Let me see who wins between Dricus and Chimaev. He's openly telling you, I'm here for one reason, which is to be a thorn in this guy's side of Chimaev. Okay, great. So now you have Paulo Costa at the table somewhere. Even if you got to have an outcome, but you have Paulo somewhere at the table. I must assume if RDR gets a victory over Whittaker, you want to hear an interesting stat on Whittaker, guys? Nobody has ever beaten Robert Whittaker who didn't fight for a world championship. Now, whether that was before he fought him, it was the night that he fought him, and it was for the belt, or they went right from there to go fight for a title. Robert Whittaker has never been beaten by somebody who, at a minimum, fought for a world championship. As a matter of fact, the reason I have to word it that way is only because Chimaev hasn't done it yet. Absent of Chimaev making that walk with Dricus, I could make a stronger statement and tell you Robert Whittaker has never been beaten by anybody who couldn't call themselves world champion. Isn't that powerful? I mean, just imagine if De Ridder got the jump on Robert Whittaker. Robert Whittaker is the biggest lock, and I know we have several guys that will go into the Hall of Fame. Robert Whittaker is the biggest lock for the Hall of Fame of anybody that's under contract. Ilia Topuria is under contract. Max Holloway is under contract. Justin Gaethje is under contract. Alex Pereira is under contract. None of them are guaranteed more than Whittaker. It's a very big spot that De Ridder's going into, and De Ridder hasn't done the world's greatest job of setting the table for himself, and he should have. He's owed it. What De Ridder was able to do with Bo Nickel is one of the bigger shocks, if not the absolute biggest shock of 2025. And you can say whatever you want about that fight in hindsight, leading into that match and coming out of the octagon that night, this was massive. This was massive. I remember where I was. It was one of those moments. You don't have a lot of those in life. I remember where I was when we got the news, and this is prior to the internet, that Buster Douglas had beaten Mike Tyson in Tokyo. And my father and I both scolded the news reporter for having such bad information. We knew that it could not be true, and we had to then wait until the 11 o'clock nightly news. We had to wait 5 hours until another news broadcast came on, because we only had 3 channels back then. And sure enough, Buster Douglas had put him down. And I'm sharing with you, I remember where I was in the driver's seat, headed home from the Roseland with my son in the passenger seat, watching on ESPN Plus, giving me a play-by-play, and I had to keep correcting him. So Bo Nickel just got taken down. I mean, you mean Bo got the takedown? Bo Nickel's in a full mount. You mean Bo has fully mounted him? Bo Nickel lost, referee stoppage. You mean Bo won? Like, I had to keep correcting him. I was having a hard time processing what I was hearing. And I'm sharing that De Ridder has been a real gentleman. De Ridder hasn't been making any demands. He's not making any claims. He's not saying, if I go in main event here and I beat your future Hall of Famer, that I'm guaranteed a title shot. But I think he would be correct to do so. Somebody should be speaking up on his behalf. It's some very, very heavy lifting he's doing around here. Does it qualify for a title fight? Well, Paulo Costa's got himself a nice little niche. Real nice storyline. Kyle Barallo is who the fellow 85-pounders think is the leader of the pack. You could talk to a group of 85-pounders. You should hear the way they speak about Kyle. But who's going to be next? And if it's not De Ridder with a victory, then what are we doing here? These are reasonable questions. These are fair questions by me. Nobody has ever beaten Robert Whittaker who didn't get a fight for the belt, whether it was prior or immediately following. So with that in mind, what's on the line? Is RDR one good performance and one good victory away from, much like Paulo Costa, being in the front row and taking in the middleweight title fight that's coming up later this year in Chicago?